Hello, everyone. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for being here. Joining myself and the wonderful Riza. Oh, hello. What's that? I realized I did like the camera sizing before I had the cameras actually in like where they were gonna be, but it's fine. We fixed it now, so it doesn't matter. Hello. I wanted to jump into things right away because I have a today's book club stream will be 1 hour and not a minute more because exciting new update in my life. James and I got a new puppy and he is amazing, but he is a handful and we're trying to get him on like a pretty solid napping schedule, and he's going to be up again at 9 p.m. my time, and I got to go get him. So that's the plan. Joined again, second time joining us for Twitch Book Club by the wonderful, lovely Riza Phoenix, and I'm glad she could join because this was her book suggestion.
Yes, I'm super excited to hear your reactions to the first book.
I am a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie, because it is your suggestion, and I didn't absolutely love it. I definitely enjoyed parts of it, and I was vibing with it so hard at the beginning. And then partway through, there's a few like character choices and writing style things that just started to make me be like, well, I don't know if I'm loving this anymore kind of thing. But like I don't think it was like it's not a book I would have like, oh, if I wasn't reading this for book club, I wouldn't have finished it. And I might probably still read the rest of the series because they're on Kindle Unlimited. If I had to go out of my way and like purchase the rest of them without my Kindle Unlimited subscription, I don't know if I like the first one enough that I would go back and finish it. That's like my overall impression before we get to the specific. So I'm hoping that you're not just gonna sit here and be like, this woman has no taste. How dare she trash my book choice the whole time?
Okay. Never gonna happen.
Excellent.
Never gonna happen. All right. So now let's go way back. Way back. I was riding down to South Florida from North Florida with my husband. We had a 6-hour drive ahead of us. And he said, do you mind if I put on my audiobook? And I said, no. And that was the first time that I heard about Bethany Ann.
Oh, so he was reading it first. Interesting.
Yes.
How far in was he? Did you get to start from the beginning, or were you like jumping in the middle?
Jumping into the middle of the first book.
Okay.
So we are sitting there. I'm just like letting him listen to it because it's like at the point where she becomes the vampire and she's exploring her powers. And I'm just like,
oh boy,
I don't even like this. Why are you, I don't get it. This is so OP. She is so OP.
Yes.
She's ridiculously OP.
Mm-hmm.
She's broken. Why would you write a character that's so broken?
If she was in a video game, she would be busted. She would need a nerf for sure.
Yes. And then I got to the third book and I'm like, oh, that's why. Oh, fuck. That's why. Okay. So now we understand why she's that. Woo. Okay.
I can only imagine coming into this partway through because the thing that for me started off as a strength and then partway through I was like, I don't know if it's a strength. It's not so much a weakness, but I don't know if it's a strength anymore, was the author at the beginning was very good at the show don't tell. Like all these events are happening and they're like laying down all these tracks and setting all these scenes and putting down all these pieces, but as a reader and you're kind of like racing to keep up, like what are they being, what's going on, like with in this military structure and the history of this world and like the hierarchy of the vampire characters you meet and stuff like that, right? And it was great, but then like his kind of breakneck pacing and his like I'm gonna make the reader keep up with me, like if you're jumping in the middle, I can only imagine. Quick pause of my thought because we're getting raided. Hello, raiders, and from a fellow Canadian, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. I don't normally stream in the evenings, so this is a rarity for me. We're having a book club stream, and we just started talking about this book. I know what direction to point. Right here. Death Becomes Her, and I'm joined by Rise of Phoenix. We're also raising money for St. Jude, by the way. I meant to say that off the top. That's what that scrolling bar on the top is. All month, raising money for St. Jude. My first little goal milestone comes in at only $50, which is only $10 away. Just saying. And it's going to be a giveaway. So we hit $50 raised for St. Jude. I give away a $50 gift card to Cosmic Candles. So it's a win-win. It's very exciting.
Oh, yes. Very excited.
Anyways, back to book things.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one who reads that first book and is like,
huh?
Yes.
Because literally, also, like, I'm so torn on, I go back and forth. Because at first, I was like, again, I realized the whole premise, like, I went into this knowing this is like urban fantasy meets sci-fi. Like, we're combining those two genres. And I was excited for that. And I think I still am. But knowing that, and also I even made a note on my, like, Kindle highlights when I was reading it. When he said, like when Bethany Ann meets, I think it's Michael, and then Michael's like, I've been waiting all day for you to ask me that. I am. And then it trails off, and later, and I'm like, oh, so annoying. And I'm like, my money's on Alien. I even wrote that. I made a Kindle note. But then when you realize the extent of how much, like, vampires aren't vampires, they're aliens, like, oh, I was so disappointed. And I realized then how much of a just vampire purist I am. Because anyone who knows me, I describe myself as a slut for vampires. I will consume any vampire media in any form that exists. I love vampires. So at first I thought I'd be really excited on this new, like, combining vampires with sci-fi things. But then when we got the full backstory and the reveal, I'm trying not to get, like, too specific in case someone reads the book. But when you get the full reveal of, like, vampires are technically aliens. They're not actually vampires. And I was just like, okay, so I don't know. I feel underwhelmed now.
Well, I disagree with you on the vampires are aliens because they're not aliens. They're humans that have been altered, which is exactly what a vampire is. And I love the fact that Michael was flawed. Because think about it. That's the first time this alien race has interacted with, on a genetic and medical level, with the human race. And they fucked it up. They botched the job. They screwed the pooch.
Well, it makes sense. They're like, we don't know this life form, and we're just kind of making this up as we go. Like, it makes total sense. And again, everything after that, like, I like the logic, and it tracks. And I like those things. But something about just, I think it's just, again, like I said, some part of me with how obsessed I've been with vampires my whole life. And I was ready for this new, like, version of them, or I thought I was, and then I got it, and I was like, no, I want my old vampires. I want my gothic horror vampires. And it was just so hard. Like, let's put it this way. Anytime it's vampires and werewolves are involved and they're, like, butting heads because that's what they do, I'm on Team Vampire, always have been my whole life. In this book and this book only, my favorite character, and the one I'm kind of rooting for, Werewolf Man, who gets introduced later. He is my favorite character.
Yes. Mr. Lowell.
Yes.
Now, you want to hear the fun bit? Mr. Lowell gets an entire book series for him and Ekaterina.
Because they are my two favorites. They are the ones, like, by the end of the book, I cared the most about them, which I think is, like, a flaw, at least in the writer was not able to make me the most invested in Bethany Ann and in her story. And clearly the point is you should be. I feel the point is the author wants you to care the most about that, but I don't. I care the most about these two.
Yes, I was, like, rooting for the bear. How did you feel about Alexei the bear? How was the bear for you?
This is the one time where it's like, she would choose the bear actually means something very different than in mine. Oh my goodness. I like that whenever we have werewolves, they're not just werewolves, like, were in general. Like, there's were creatures and were society. Yes. I'm always down for that. I fuck with it. I also liked that it's like, it's showing it to me. It almost reminded me he would be like other werewolves, or like in Vampire the Masquerade analogy, like Camarilla, and he was like an anarch because he's like showing you someone, like a character on the fringes of the hierarchical society. And someone who's like, I do my own thing. I protect my own territory. I don't get involved, but, like, I'm aware of these other societies and whatnot. I liked it as a character. I don't remember having any strong opinions, like being super invested, but I didn't dislike him, and I liked seeing a non-wolf were character.
Now, without going into too much detail, what did you think of Tom?
I read this a while ago. Which one was Tom again? I say a while ago. It's at max a month.
Pilot of the ship.
Yes, they're right. Thank you. The actor Tom. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, he reminded me of something, and now I'm blanking. But I quite enjoy their interaction. He's almost reminds me of like a more happy-go-lucky, or like not. That's the wrong characterization. Like a more positive and kind of quirky version of like Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, with the whole like misunderstanding, like sarcasm and social cues, and like not really, and like him and Bethany Ann having to like adapt to each other, and being maybe two of the worst personalities to have to coexist. Yes. And I also feel like I would enjoy that in future books, like the banter between them a lot. He didn't get a ton of time to shine because a lot of his talking was lore dumping. So I'm also looking forward to more characterization and banter and less lore dumping if I continue to read the series with him.
There's going to be a lot of that. A lot. He's not alone. There's going to be a lot. If you do continue the series, because it is on Kindle Unlimited right now.
Yes.
I think that you will find the to come interactions quite satisfying. My favorite thing about this book series didn't really hit my brain was occurring until the third book.
Okay.
She never repeats a cursing. Like if she's sitting here calling someone, a pumpkin sucking camel fucker, she will never say that exact phrase again.
She'll come up with a new one next time.
A whole new one each time. And that shows a level of detail attention to me. And so I didn't ever really get that attached to Bethany Ann.
Yeah. My issue with her is like, I felt like the author was trying so hard so early. Even one of my notes to make her so exceptional, like to make the reader be like, this is like one of the pinnacles of human existence. She is intelligent. She is like physically prowess. Like just make her this like paragon of all things, even before she was like a vampire. Because even like the note where it's like when she meets her father, the general, because he has to give her the update, and within like a millisecond she like Sherlock Holmes BBC style comes up with all these deductions, and she's like, therefore he must be expecting someone suffering from a fatal disease to show up, and she just like instantly knows that he knows, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, there's no way you could have made that assumption. I'm sorry, I don't care how smart we're trying to make you. And there's moments like that all the time where it just felt like the author was just stretching it a bit, at least for me to buy that she's that like just that amazing at everything, other than she clearly is abrasive personality. That's like her one drawback, is her abrasive personality.
That never goes away,
which is good because she needs a flaw somewhere, because every other part of her apparently is like God's gift to humanity.
No, it's so here's the thing with her intellect. I actually have met someone that quick, that socially astute, and they were trained. Like that is something a lot of people, because you're not going to get that training in 98% of the jobs in the world.
Yeah.
But because of what she was as a profession, she was a spook's spook. She was highly intelligent. We're talking top tier. And the author did try to display that with the universities harassing her comment. But it's never really going to click.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like the author did do some work and mention either, but I also feel like because it was such a short book, I almost wish it was longer, because I'm like, give me more time to see that in action, and then maybe it wouldn't feel that way, because we get so little time with her before she is selected for this like process and selected to be like the next candidate for Michael and stuff, and he tries to do a lot in a short amount of time. And again, a lot of this book is he doesn't do things unsuccessfully, but he doesn't do them so successfully that I'm like loving it. It was very like, I think I gave it like 2.75 stars. Again, for me, a 2-star is I read the book and didn't like it. 3 stars, I read it and I did, and it was like almost there, because it was like I read it, I didn't dislike it, but I don't know if I liked it. I think I need to read the others, and I think it's one of those that, like, the series that as you get into later books, it gets better and you get hooked. But I know a lot of people are like, I shouldn't have to read multiple books to, like, enjoy something, which is fine. You do you.
But this one goes so fast.
It is, and I feel like it's because I'm like, you could have made it longer. I don't know if you were just, like, you wanted it to be shorter, so therefore it was maybe more accessible to people who are intimidated by longer books and to get people in it, or maybe you just, that's your writing style. But I almost wish we could have had a little bit more time, like, draw things out a little bit, because even, like, where we started and where we end, I'm like, holy moly, like, so many things
Roller coasters,
turned on their head. Yeah.
hyperspeed.
This book goes at, this is the most fast-paced book I think I've read in a long ass time. Like, just the whole time, just going, fucking going. And again, that was a strength in the beginning. I loved how quick we were moving, and it was almost like, because the one thing I'll say is he doesn't, like, he doesn't assume his readers are stupid. He's expecting you're gonna keep up with all the things he's dropping and all the action that's happening and all the tracks he's laying down for the future books. But sometimes I'm like, okay, but sometimes I need a break, at least a little bit of time. I need you to take your foot off the gas, like, for a few chapters. I need a little bit of time to just, like, get to know characters and enjoy them, or world build. Like, I don't mind if you slow down for, like, a little bit.
Well, you will find that the first two books have that roller coaster feel, definitely. The second one is titled Bitch Queen.
I saw it. I was like,
no, Queen
Lord.
Bitch.
What a title. What a follow-up.
So, yeah, it's got a follow-up.
Holy moly.
I feel like this first book was literally him getting the reader comfortable with the idea of this is in your world.
Yeah.
These are places you can, like, Google on a map. Mm-hmm. Except for the military base, I think. But there is definitely that sensation of, it's just, if you blink, you're going to miss something. So you might need to read a page twice.
Yeah.
Kind of feeling, because holy crap. Mm-hmm. And to have it so that you have Carl and Michael there, and you're, like, starting to get to understand them and to get a feel for them. And you're just starting to understand just how tired Michael is. Mm-hmm. And how self-aware he is. Because the man is incredibly self-aware. And not on the personal level that you get with most characters. Mm-hmm. It's as if he has become nothing but the archetype.
And I was so interested in him, and we get so little of him in book one. Again, that's one of the, like, the things that are going to make me come back are not Bethany Ann and not the main plot. They sort out, it's Michael, and it's the side burgeoning romance between Katerina and Mr. Like, it's all the side things. It's one of those, like, if this was a video game, it's a video game where I'm doing all the side quests and I give zero fucks about the main quest. Like,
how did you feel about Frank?
Was Frank the one who died really early, or the one who was left afterward that was, like, kind of
the government,
the liaison? Yeah, the liaison guy. I enjoyed Frank's passages whenever it was his time to talk, and I thought he was a good lens into, like, our lens into learning about the structure of their world and the history of their world. Again, there wasn't any, like, one character I specifically, like, there wasn't anyone I didn't enjoy reading. There was more one common thread between all the characters that pissed me off a little bit, and I even wrote a note about it, is everyone's just, like, it's like they know they are characters in a book and they need to just get on board to progress the action. Like, no one ever has a minute to be like, hold the fuck up, this is a lot, like, my whole world's turning on its head, or I'm getting a lot of information. Like, no one needs time to process. Everyone's just like, all right, quick, accept, go. Bethany Ann, okay, sure, we accept that she's in a job where she sees a lot of, like, crisis level things. She has to make split-second decisions. She's incredibly intelligent, but even, like, Ekaterina knows nothing about the supernatural world, was basically a barmaid and a nature buff her whole life, gets exposed to all this shit, sees the most terrifying creature in the world. Eviscerate is too subtle a word for what she does, all these people around her. Immediately is like, I'm okay with this. This is fine. I'm a stick with these people. And I wrote, she's either dumb as rocks or brilliant. Because it's either the whole, I get the mentality of, befriend the thing that's scary, or like keep sticking close to the biggest threat, because if they're the biggest threat, you're safer with them than away from them. But at the same time, you're a regular person. You must need a little.
Okay,
Just give me some processing time. Some processing time. That's all I want.
Katerina didn't see any of the massacre.
True, she was unconscious. Well, she saw the aftermath. She wakes up and just sees blood and body parts all over the snow. This woman, covered in viscera, took out all these people. I'm like, come on. I need a little bit, just a tiny little bit of concern from someone.
Yes, and you get that.
From Wolfman. He's one. That's why he's one who gave it to me. He's the one who seems the accurate level of scared and the accurate level of, oh my god, and concerned. But it makes sense why he's rolling with it, because he understands. He knows a bit more of the history, and he knows I need to immediately do what she says. I need to be on her good side. I need to like suck up to this woman. I need to fall in line, because I am fucked if I don't. And he has more context to be able to make that decision faster, and not. I just needed more people to not know they were in a book, and I just needed them to feel a little bit natural and just be scared for a little while, panic for a bit, need time to compute what is happening. It would feel a little more real to me.
I think that's the author's inability to write such a scene more than the lack of having it, because there are brief moments where Bethany Ann leaves and then starts vomiting her guts up because she's so horrified and disgusted by what she's done.
Yeah.
It's Ekaterina sitting inside her tent and she can't make her hands stop shaking. So he touches on it, but I think it may be that he actually, because I don't see any more of that. It doesn't get any like more deep. Yeah. Any of the other books.
He brushes over it a little too fast. I could use a little more internal monologue then to let me know that they are having, at least part of them is having this very natural human reaction that I am looking for.
His group dynamic and his integration is great. His personalities are a little bland. Some of the other authors that he's brought in to build satellite series off of the Bethany and Cartherian Gambit series, they do a better job with the internal monologue. You feel the emotions more. Yeah. But I don't think that in the ones that I've touched into, that any of them got all of the elements just right. Most of these are actually fairly inexperienced writers.
Yeah.
He literally pulled people from fan fiction websites who wrote about his characters.
Ooh.
And he brought them to Alaska. This is what he did.
Alaska,
he had a writing. He got them to come to a writing camp.
Cool.
And they spent time reviewing the books. And he set parameters and contracts. They could write about these characters, but these ones they would only do cameos, and they would send him that segment, like to be approved if they had a cameo. So he didn't mind Bethany Ann showing up for a few minutes or a few pages, but they weren't allowed to write her.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
But Nathan Lowell, Frank,
my bae.
Patricia, the secretary.
I don't remember too much about her. Clearly, my brain.
She doesn't show up a lot in this book. There is a satellite series where they become much more. Somebody did take an interest into General Reynolds, Bethany Ann's father, and Patricia. But it happens much later in the book series that you get them.
Yeah. I will say this book has such a good, one of the best, I think, openings to like immediately hook you. I mean, even just the premise, like this random secret vault unexplainably opens in a top secret military base with this like cryptic letter. I'm like, this is fucking cool. Like this is how I like, and before that, the other first paragraph is like two vampires having great banter, seeming going on a mission, and then like one of them dies in a like horrible attack, cut to this like cryptic thing in a military base, and then like how are these related? Like again, this book started off so strong for me, and then just lost me partway through. But good.
What was that first? Many of those who fight have honor, else we are doomed in the end. Unknown politician stump speech. You know the problem with honor? Honor can be a restraining bitch. I've decided honor was for the last generation. Bethany Ann Reynolds, Queen of the Unknown World.
Hell yeah. I said there were quite a few, or not quite a few, there's a few, some of my favorite quotes that I highlighted. The first one, more longer paragraph. I don't remember whose point of view this is. It was a little under halfway through. I'll
Give me a
Maybe I'll
page
find
number.
out. I don't know page number because I read it on Kindle. I know it's 41% of the way through the book. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, because mine says like page number, but go ahead.
On mine,
Read
it says, he believed one should know truth, which required taking the time to know oneself. This might be a Michael chapter. Maybe
That
that's
was a
why.
Michael.
Yeah. One didn't lie about their actions, their feelings, or their thoughts and beliefs, but accepted themselves for what and who they were. Once people understood those things, their future was more assured since they wouldn't be subconsciously fighting both their enemies and themselves to accomplish their goals. And just the idea, I thought of like how many people, it's like you think you're fighting all these other barriers to accomplishing something, but you're not self-aware enough to realize you're standing in your own way. Like you're also fighting yourself. So, good Michael quote for me. This note I just wrote, I said, can confirm this is why I watch reality TV. And the quote is, it's a Bethany Ann quote. She supposed people were able to secretly feel superior when watching the horrific train wrecks others were making of their lives on national television. Like, yes.
Yep, she
It's
was
exactly why I
thinking
watch
about her.
reality TV.
Yeah. She was thinking about Tom's comment on the general entertainment that seemed popular with whatever satellite signals he could get. While I was reading this, because I actually read this just today,
Yeah,
so the chat knows. I read
It's
it
fresh.
all today. It's a very quick read.
it is. I read this hella fast.
So let's see. Page 5 was at 2:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I started the book. I wrote this in a DM to a friend of mine to give him a taste of the book from my perspective. It was obvious she was angry, and when Bethany Ann was angry, her better nature took a sabbatical.
Yeah, I love that quote. Also, the author has such a like fun and humorous writing style.
Yes.
Which I liked a lot. Like the vampire was stunning. If you liked your ladies with dark hair and destructive urges, was another quote that I
Yes.
highlighted.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, stop describing my taste in video game romances. Like, how dare you?
I feel a little called out here.
Another one, a more serious quote, not funny, but just I read it and I was like, God, this is so fucking painfully relevant in 2025. All it takes is good men looking the other way to allow evil to get a foothold in our world. And I was like, God, too real. It's too real right now.
So Dobson has a question for you.
Yes. We can both answer it. I'll say my 2 sentences. King, I don't know, spoilery ways. Like the easy just elevator pitch, I guess, is again urban fantasy meets sci-fi. What if vampires vampires walk among us, but because of a certain spaceship, and that's how I describe it. If you want vampires and aliens at the same time, and you want terrifyingly powerful women, read this. What's your 2-sentence pitch or description?
For me, trying to think of how to say what this book
Right.
is in 1 or 2 sentences without spoilers.
Right? Or what is it? The supernatural world is the unknown supernatural world that exists about to be turned on its head by an absolute firecracker of a woman who's literally just like, hey, you're gonna give me power, I'm gonna remake the world.
I'm thinking that I will go with the supernatural world enters a modern era.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And that is what you are seeing is the new order rising.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's so good. That's good shit. So other and more like silly comparison. If The Host and Twilight were combined and written by an author who isn't garbage. That's what I
Okay,
say.
yeah. You know what?
Like, take the Twilight series and then take her other novel, The Host, combine them, but not shit, not racist, not like preachy, subtle Mormon shit in there. Like an actual, like, competent, or like more competent than her author combined those two books and made them for adults and not like teenagers.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. For me though, yeah, it's Bethany Ann comes into this world from our world. She's lived in our world.
Yeah.
She is the equivalent of a real life hero. If this world that we live in today had a hero, they would probably look like something like Bethany Ann. Because they are the elite. They are the extreme best.
Oh my god,
Ooh.
James specifically, aka D.W. Dobson, the most powerful character in this book, she is like fucking like Omni-Man or Invincible level powerful. Like, she is a world threat. Like, if she showed up on your planet and decided she wanted to like take over or do some damage, fuck you, fucking run. Like, you are I mean, she comes across and is aided in some ways, read the book to find out, interplanetary forces and beings. So also, I guess Invincible is not a bad comparison in that way, because she is of Earth and not of Earth, like Mark Grayson in Invincible by the end of the book. But when you first meet her, she is born and raised human of our world, very much a modern day American woman, very American at times in some of her
Very,
her
very
opinions and
American.
mannerisms.
The way that they start off, just it's accepted and it's based that there is sexism.
Yep.
And the thing is though, it's not just male sexism, because you can see it in Bethany Ann too. And I love that you do find out later on she does deal with that.
Yeah.
She has to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
So it's not something that is just something you have to look at for the rest of the book series and get irritated by.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, so many books or media in general try and do that trope of like, here's like a powerful and like strong, intelligent woman who's like, oh, sexism not a barrier for me because I'm just gonna tell it to fuck off, and like her kick-ass attitude is gonna be like enough to combat sexism in her life. But Bethany Ann, it's like, no, this is the one person who actually could. Like, she'll just literally, like, any time she brushes up against like sexism as a barrier, both like in her pre-transition, post-transition, she quite literally just says fuck you and demolishes it by force.
Yes, that is exactly her reaction. She physically demolishes it by force.
Yes, which is what so many other media, be it books, movies, that are trying to have these female characters do, to have them be like, this is an empowered woman, empowered femme presenting person, but it's not. Like, it doesn't have, like, she has just the sheer fucking strength and force of will to actually back that up. A lot of characters that try to be written that way, it's like they're writing checks that their actions can't actually cash, and Bethany Ann definitely can.
Oh, yes. And I love the fact that they go back to that actual bonding moment between her and Lance Reynolds, her father. All right? And it's one of the few, like, bonding moments where she realizes he does love her. And yeah, he's weirdly unaffectionate, but he's always got her back, and he's not going to let her he's not going to make her suck it up and take it.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite, again, because Bethany is such a abrasive and like hard character, for like metaphorically speaking, so much of the time. And one of the best parts of seeing that moment of softness where he's like, well, you know what, I'm gonna have like basically a last meal with my dad. Like, here's a company credit card. Fuck this. Let's go. Like, take what time we have left. Make some terrible decisions. Drink some very expensive wine, and like have a father-daughter moment, because we, you know, haven't really been good about that our whole life. And I was like,
Yeah.
we need this to make you, again, otherwise she ran the risk a lot of the time, and there were times where she did cross over into that territory for me. Like, she's very easy to become very two-dimensional in just, like I said, this, like, female badass, and that's, like, all she is. So you needed moments like that to make her an actual three-dimensional badass.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. So there are moments where and I think part of it is you don't get enough of them. I don't ever feel like there's enough of them.
Yeah, it was
So I'm
mostly just her
always
kicking
wanting-
ass and taking names, which, again, like, obviously I'm fucking here for women being badasses. That's what I want. But I mean, again, it's part of the whole, just, it doesn't felt like the author never knew when to take his foot off the gas. And that goes for her, even her character as well. It's like everything just had to be at 100 all the time. And I'm like, we need levels. We need the quiet to make the loud stand out more. We need the subtle to make the bold in your face even more exciting and juicy. You need interplay. And I could have used a little more of that.
Yes. The only moment like where she's dealing with Tom that I really feel like a connection to her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where she first deals with Tom?
I believe so.
All right.
Like when she first wakes up.
Yes.
Yeah.
When she first wakes up and she's inside what she calls the sarcophagus.
Yes.
All right. So let's see. Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm trying to find it, but basically there's this moment that she's talking to Tom and she goes, "You know what? For that and that alone, you're out of the doghouse, you can sleep on the couch."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wait, I didn't know we had that sort of a relationship." And the first time I heard that, I was like, I feel like the person that was playing Tom, because it's graphic audio.
Mm-hmm.
So they had multiple voice actors.
Okay. Love that.
Yes, the voice acting in the graphic audio for this book series. Mwah,
I was gonna ask because they're on Kindle Unlimited, but also if I could find the audiobook, because I feel like a lot of my reading in the coming weeks is going to be audiobooks because of like running after a puppy and taking puppy for walks when he's old enough and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have less time to sit and physically read, so good to know
But
that
yeah,
they're good audiobooks.
If you want, I can get the Audible link for you.
Sure.
Because that guarantees you get the readers that I was exposed to.
Yes.
But yes, the graphic audio for this book series is top shelf. I very much enjoyed all aspects of that. Except for like the little thing they slap on the end that's like a robot dude. He's like, "Thank you for joining."
Yeah,
Audible
the
for this
Audible
reading."
thing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I remember I used to have an Audible subscription, so I remember those days.
Yeah. That thing is always gets to me. I'm like, skip, go away. No, get, shoot, bye. But yeah, so like, there's that moment where she's got that moment where she's human. And she says something, "Okay, that got you out of the doghouse. You can go sleep on the couch now." Just for that.
It's almost like I got a lot of, given part of it's just that my husband and I are just very deep in the Marvel universe, cinematic universe. It was giving a lot of like Tony Stark and Jarvis banter vibes, but like turn the dial up to 1,000 with like her and Tom with the snark and the sass and the like But of course it's different because she did not, ask, whereas like Tony Stark created Jarvis once if they're well aware, or she did not sign up for this per se. So different in that way, but just in the bickering and one being like, "Hey, here's this one who has is like a bundle of knowledge, the one that you can ask any question and it will give you an answer." What AI would be like if AI wasn't the devil and scary and, not being used for the right things in our world.
Correct. So
AI bad.
Tom is the ghost in the machine. And Bethany Ann is the machine. Just to give that little piece to chat, because they need to understand these two will never get rid of each other.
No, they're kind of stuck. Through events that if you choose to read, you'll read. These two characters are basically stuck together. most likely and definitely at the bare minimum for the foreseeable future. The way it's written, I get the sense that it is permanent, but who knows? There's many books. There's what, 14
I
books
know.
in this series? Like, who
Yeah.
the fuck knows?
And that's just this one. That's just this one.
Oh yeah, because there's
So-
spin-off series, like you said, which is wild.
That's right. There's this one. Then there's the next part of the series is like after this book selection. Like if you were to look on Amazon at it, this
Yes.
cluster is usually a box set.
Okay.
The second cluster that's directly by Michael Anderle, that goes in a whole new like. Whoa! Wait, where did
I've also definitely been saying his last name wrong. Lol.
Michael Anderle?
Yeah, I was reading it like Anderle, like the last E was like silent letter in my head.
Yeah, no, I take it from the audiobooks.
Yeah.
Where
Because I
he
would
got to
assume they
yell at them
check,
if they said his-
yeah. It's always why when you read a book and then you either hear someone else talk about like the author, or you read it, or you the audiobook version and you realize like, oh shit, I've been saying that name wrong the whole time. Usually it's characters and not the author, but
I did like how, like, we're going to be jumping around a little bit in the book because I have a selection of
Yeah.
quotes like you do.
yeah.
And one of the quotes that I actually sent to my friend, a few who could regenerate their wounds apparently pissed Michael off enough that he would cut large part off their body and stake them to the ground so they couldn't escape until their body parts grew back. Then cut those parts off again.
Oh my
He had
god, I
them made-
know.
He had made the new pack leaders watch to make sure they got the message that to attack him had dire consequences.
I read that part and I'm like, I'm so stealing this for like a D&D villain that I want to be absolutely fucking terrifying. Like the next time I want someone to be absolutely psychotically unhinged evil, I'm like, we're doing that. But because Michael's not psychotically unhinged. He is terrifyingly hinged,
Practical.
in control, practical, and very smart, and knows exactly what he's doing. But Jesus Christ, that was freaking
Yes.
insane.
So the way I described it is that is part of the history dump of the entire leadership of the supernatural world. The first vampire set the rules and enforced them. They thought they could take him. They were wrong.
I will
This
say,
tells you of a
sorry.
major world-changing event that Michael was like, he did this. He took out the entire leadership
yeah,
of other supernatural groups
yep.
by himself. And they did that in like a paragraph. That was great world building, in my opinion.
The other thing I found once we got a bit more of the inside look into the creation of vampires and Michael and his children, because of course early on you just get the basic structure of there is Michael, first vamp, OG vamp. Then there are like Michael's children, next powerful, and then like from them children, and like the vampire family tree / hierarchy, if you will. And there's a lot of vampires media that is very similar in that the further you go from the original, the weaker vampire bloodlines or powers get. Like in Vampire the Masquerade, it's like that, and that's a key part of like your abilities even as a character. But I love that once we got the behind the scenes, the info of like how that all happens and how you transition and where vampires, like how Michael became the first vampire. It's such a good, grounded and like biology interesting way for why each generation is slightly weaker. And it's just fun to see, again, as someone who reads a lot of vampire things, that was one of the good parts of vampires and aliens being linked in this one that I liked, even though overall jury's still out of my mind, but I found that very interesting. Having this biological and like makes total sense biological reason as to why each vampire generation is less powerful, even, and why only like the very first could even like tolerate sunlight versus the ones that can't and stuff like that.
Yes. And the fact that he brings the Nosferatu term in, and he gives it a science. That I like.
I was hoping we'd like meet one of those characters, but we did. Like, I'm guessing we will in later books, obviously. But I was hoping we'd come across like a more Nosferatu specific vampire in this book, and we did not. But alas,
No, we met Peter, and I believe you meet Stefan in the next book. I love
Vampire Diaries.
Stefan. Or Stephen, depending on which country he comes from. But it never really is clarified where he
Yeah.
came from. So pronouncing it's like, is it Stephen? Is it Stefan? Nobody knows.
Nobody
Why?
knows. It's whatever he feels like on that day.
Yes. Actually, that's very true.
Haven't read it yet, but I can already. That's the vibe. I can tell.
I feel like you will enjoy him much more than you do Bethany Ann.
Well, he has a lot of redeeming to do because he's already got a black mark of his name, Stefan, because one of the vampires I loathe the most of all time is Stefan from the Vampire Diaries. So he just seeing the name Stefan, I get like Stefan and Angel, the two names I get irrationally angry, and it's no fault to whoever's writing those characters, but I'm already predisposed to hate your character if they are a vampire with those names or vampire adjacent with those names. To the point, my hatred for Angel goes so deep that...
Hey, where did you get Angel from? Where's
Buffy.
your hatred for them?
Buffy.
Really? You hated Mr. Emo Lord?
Oh, I only like him when he's a villain. Evil Angel, best Angel. But, like, literally, I hate him so much at the point of... And I'm also a giant Kingdom Hearts nerd. I've played every game. The fact that when I was playing it when I got older, after I watched Buffy, doing one of my replays, and I heard... I think he plays Leon. Like, David Boreanaz voices the English dub of Leon. I didn't know this, but he started talking, I was like, fuck this guy. I hate this guy. And so I was like, Laura, he's like barely in the game. You don't even know anything about him. Like, you haven't played the Final Fantasy game he's from. Like, I don't care. I fucking hate this guy. And then I realized why. It's because I heard David Boreanaz's voice, and I was like, ugh. And I just got so angry inside. I was like, fuck this character.
So... yeah, there's a lot. We're actually way past our hour, aren't we? Or no?
No, because we got in the call. We still have 13 minutes before he wakes up.
Okay.
But we could still start wrapping it up if you want.
Well, no, I just don't want to push you past because you got to take care of the pupper.
Yes, because we need him to be awake for a certain amount of time before we go to, like, bed. Otherwise, he won't go to sleep when I need to sleep, so.
Yeah.
He is a little handful. I could go get him and, like, bring him on. He could cameo, but he probably should go outside first. And he probably won't sit still.
Maybe next time.
Yeah,
maybe next time.
He'll be bigger and a little less puppy and a little less cute, but I could show a picture. I posted a ton of pictures. If you want to see pictures of him, go look at my, like, Twitter or Instagram or Blue Sky or Threads. Pick your social of choice. I posted pictures of him. Because he's a little goober. He's going to eat into my reading time. The next book that we have picked for book club is Iron Widow, which has been on my shelf for fucking ever. I'm so excited by, I hope I say her name right, Sharon J. Zhao. And I'm very excited. I'm hoping I'll be able to read it in time because... again, little land shark of a puppy, which we call him because he's, you know, teething and biting everything. I might get the audiobook for that, even though I have the physical book. I might see if I can get, like, from the library an audiobook so I can listen to it while I wrangle and whatnot.
Looking at the wiki for Iron Widow reminds me of a character that you find, like, 7 books into this series.
Have you finished the Cthulhian Gambit series then? The whole thing?
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
nice.
yes, yes.
Would you say it's like consistent as a series? Would you say it, like, just gets better? Does it, like, peak in the middle and then go down a little bit? Like, what would you say is the overall trajectory of the series for you?
It gets better. There's a couple of hitches in it that I don't like.
Yeah.
There is a huge time jump.
Oh, boy. Time skips either always work, like, wonderfully and are great storytelling tools, or they, like, halt momentum and they bother me so much because it's like I feel like all these things happen that I would have loved to watch, like, or read or see. Like, why did all this happen during a time skip and I just get to hear about it later? It's such a waste.
So there are several points where you lose track of support characters from the book series. All of those points so far in the first set of books, all of those points give birth to a satellite book series.
Oh my goodness. Ambitious. It's a whole ass universe right here.
It actually is, and it has many, many authors with different voices and different styles and different talents. There is one that is all about like a great grandchild of
Hmm.
Michael.
Ooh,
So not a
interesting.
child, but one of
Yeah.
his children's children.
Yeah. Third
And
gen.
she is phenomenal. Like the author that picked up her story and wrote her, I wanted to I was devouring those as fast as I could get them.
See, I feel like this is a series too where I could enjoy that because some book series that do that, like multiple authors, or universes that it's like each series is one author, but then the spin-off series is different, etc. If I'm really attached to like the first author's writing style, then it becomes a detractor, right, for other books. But this one, because again, I'm more interested in the universe, the
Mhm,
author's style in general. I could take it
mhm.
or leave it. I feel like will be a good thing for me if I do like continue to dive further into this series and universe. So like that is a selling point to me for this. Have you read any other series like that where
I
either series
haven't
or
come
like book
across one.
universes?
The only large scale book series that comes close to this book count
Mm-hmm.
is the Horse Clan series.
Mm-hmm.
And it degenerates into something very much so in the VC Andrews kind of I don't like this
Ah.
way.
What's the
And
total
so
number, do you know off the top of your head, or like roughly ballpark the total number of books that are a part of this whole universe?
um I know there's 14 in one,
Yes, I knew that.
but I know that there's at least 3 with at least 6 books in them.
Okay. So it's probably similar in scope to just a number of books, but different. 'Cause obviously, there's different series. Like to Discworld, Terry Pratchett books.
Probably yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. My husband did read a good portion of Discworld, and he loved that book series.
I've read a handful of them. I want to read more. I want to read all of them, but I just
Mhm.
I get distracted and things.
Yeah. Well, if Discworld is like the Cartherian Gambit, then the satellite series that spin off from it will be wild rides of
Oh
differentials. Like there's an apocalyptic book series
yes.
involving Earth that is a satellite of the Cartherian Gambit.
Oh boy.
There is
Uh,
an entire book series on what happens to
Thank you
Michael.
for the follow. That would be fascinating. Because again, Michael, I'm just so fascinated about Michael, and I need more of Michael, and we didn't get enough of him.
Mhm,
But since we brought up the Discworld comparison, just thinking if your husband
mhm.
enjoys Discworld, or if you do as well, there is a book that I will never stop recommending, and I'm trying to get like everyone to read it because also it's an indie author, someone who I met in person years ago through Twitch. And he's just coming out with his second novella. I got an arc for it I need to read. But the first book is called The Ballad of Spricket the Bard and Company. And he described it as Discworld meets Lies of Loch Lamora in like style and in story and in characters and vibe. And I haven't read Lies of Loch Lamora, but I've read a bunch of Discworld books, and I absolutely like that. Is I said my review is like it's an ambitious comparison if an indie author and you're comparing your series like a touchstone is Discworld, but you achieved it. You pulled it off. It was the best like debut book of an indie author I think I've ever read. I'll send you the title. It's a long title and the author. But everyone, if you like Discworld, if you like fantasy, if you like light-hearted, like irreverent, witty humor, but there's like serious heart and soul underneath kind of fantasy, read The Ballad of Spricket the Bard and Company. The author's name is Sean O'Boyle. I'll put it in the chat as well. But and it's also a very
Kitty.
fast read.
Yes. That's Kitty Sydney. She's one of my RP community buddies.
Hi.
Um, I tend to gather the ones that are gamers
Hell
more
yeah.
than just our peers. So, like when Power World came out, she threw up a server, invited me over, and we played the
Nice.
mess out of that. Uh, so,
Welcome to the
are we
channel.
going to
Thanks for
add
the follow.
the Ballad of Spricket, the Bard and Company to the possible book list?
I should totally put it on there. I would reread it in a heartbeat, and I would love to see what I pick up on the second time. It was so like, hold on, let me find my Goodreads review because I don't write spoilers in my Goodreads reviews. And even though we were, again, these book club streams were like half spoiler I describe it because we talked about, we didn't get into specifics, but we definitely, you know, talked about like end game stuff in the book, later things like things that are meant to be kind of like plot twists for some people. For me, I literally made a note going, I bet it's blank, and then like 50 or 100 pages later I wrote another note going, called it, and like whatever, and feeling proud of myself. But here we go. Find my review, please. I want to see my own. Here we go. Yeah, I said best debut novel from an indie author I've been lucky enough to read. I said, so the world building in this book wasn't done through huge walls of text or lore dumps, but rather in such a sensory way, just through the characters interacting with and exploring the world itself. Even just the way things were named and the use of language makes this world feel very fresh and original and come to life. And yet, by sensory, it's like even just describing like how certain things taste or smell, and then the names of certain things, like, it's just such a fun, rich little world for an indie author, and the characters are all just so lovable, and they all start out seemingly simple and almost like archetypes, but they just become more and more complex as the book went on. And it's a good balance of like common tropes for bards and tropes for fantasy, and then other times we just completely say fuck this trope and subvert it. So yes, if you want a fast read The Ballad of Spricket the Bard.
Yeah, I feel like
Hashtag
that
not
would be like a
sponsored.
good holiday read when we
Yes.
need something short and fun.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, if you
but it
want
should be
if
on
you
the
want
list.
fun and you want like heartwarming when you're like, I've read a lot of heavy stuff lately, I would like something that still has like soul and emotion, but also that I could just like know I'm gonna feel good and have a good time when I read this book.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun read. But now that I've had the first one, I am going to end up reading more. I will, in the Discord for the Twitch Book Club, I will put a ping on what book that you get some of those.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, that. So it's not going to be like a spoiler. It's going to be like, here, I
Yeah.
ran into a scene here that either it's going to be one of those discussion topics where it's like, it's a jarring jump,
Yeah.
or it plodded along. Just giving that sense of what reaction I had, not necessarily what's in the book.
Yeah. For sure, because we have a section in the book club, I believe, that says like past book discussion, where if we want to talk about any of the books that we've read before, they're not the current like book of the month, but they were a previously discussed book, so that's a perfect place to throw that in there. If anyone who watched today, you're not in the book club Discord and you want to join, I just put the link again in the chat. ! book club. Any streams in future will bring it up. That link doesn't expire, so you can join whenever. I would love to grow our little community of readers so we get more votes on more of the books we read, more potential guests to join me on stream. We also recently decided, we did our first nonfiction book last time, and though right now the makeup of Twitch Book Club skews towards fantasy because of a lot of the people that joined initially and our tastes. I think I want to try and start doing maybe almost like where we're doing 2 books a month, but one that's any sort of fiction, like fantasy, sci-fi, romance, literary fiction, like horror, but some sort of, the fiction ones we all gravitate to, but then also more nonfiction just for those of us who want to be, like learning new things, expanding our horizons. Me, I just want to make myself read outside my like comfort zone genre bubble more often. So it's another thing we're going to start doing. So if you're like, well, I don't read a lot of these like fantasy or supernatural or romantasy books, I read nonfiction. We are going to be incorporating more of those too. And we're going to wrap it up here. So any closing thoughts, Riza, on this book or any of our discussion on it today before we wrap up? And thank you again for suggesting it. Because I never would have picked up this book otherwise. Never would have heard about it.
Yeah, no, that's how I find out about books myself. I only have one question. Were there any other quotes that you grabbed from the book that you liked?
Let me double check. I think I read out all my favorites from my Kindle Notes page. Kindle notes and highlights. Death becomes her. Dun, dun, dun. Nope, those are all my favorite ones, the ones I read. But probably my ultimate favorite, my favorite serious one, just because of its relevance, was All It Takes Is Good Men Looking the Other Way to Allow Evil to Get a Foothold in Our World. My favorite, less serious one was The Vampire Was Stunning If You Liked Your Ladies with Dark Hair and Destructive Urges.
Yes, I actually
Brought me joy.
I had my Kindle app open and I ran across that one while I was flipping through. So thank you for that. I'm glad that you hit some of the same points that kept me reading the book series.
Yay.
Like those were the same ones that got you. So if I do get into the next book, I'll definitely ping you and be like, there is some stuff in the next book. And I'll give you like the little teaser quotes.
For sure. I love me a good teaser.
Well, you know me, I'm very good for teasing you.
I'm well aware.
I'm going to let you close down, and
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
It has. Thank you so much for joining me and being a part of our little Twitch book club. It makes me so happy, brings me joy, and we will catch you, chatters, lurkers. Thanks for being here in the next one. And just a reminder, I'm raising money for St. Jude all month. Streams are going to be not as often as I'd like because we're also raising a new puppy. But when I can stream, we'd love to see you out for some of our gaming streams as well. Help us raise some money for a good cause. Thanks for being here and have a good evening. Bye.